All right, good morning and welcome back. And I'm going to build this old Bessie from Futurama. Or we could just try something crazy and actually just build it the same size this is. So now I'm just going to make some rods. I'm going to make them just under 12 inches. Just joining two rods together to make it big enough for their circumference here. Normally my frame pieces are twice as thick, so this ought to be interesting to see how this one evolves. Alright, just continuing to add support pieces around to further stabilize this frame. The shape isn't as smooth as I want, but hopefully it's not too noticeable. Okay, there's my asymmetrical frame. Pretty stable. Now we just got to figure out the rest of it. Alright, so I need to build the dome shape outline fairly decently. Then I got to come back and install the fins because I want the fins to go all the way to the core and to be stabilized pretty thoroughly. Okay, after much trimming and eyeballing, I think I've got these to the right length. I'm just securing the middle. I think that's about as good as I'm going to get. A little bit of arch support. Alright, so this straight up rod is a little bit shorter than that one. Try to get our nice arches going. Right now I'm just kind of pre-shaping my rod here so it'll better keep the arch shape. Alright, got the second one in. Alright, this piece will be pretty much this pillar that's going to go down here and support. Hello, Miss Luna. Have you come to say hi? Say hi. Here's where we're at. Alright, let's put a few cross supports in. Alright, now for the next fin support. Fin has got a slight upward angle. Okay, before I move on, I need to cross support these so they don't shift anymore. Millimeters from this point. So now I just cut this small piece. This is just to try to get the slope on the back of the fin pretty nice. Nice sweeping pattern there. Alright, I think I'll come back to this slope because how I design the engine might affect how I attach everything back here. Now just trimming this piece to fit snugly in here. I think I like how that turned out. I should be able to make it smooth when I start adding the sheet to the sides. This is where it gets challenging. Keep everything, all the shapes correct, while not destroying my own model in the process. Let's further stabilize this core section up top, and then we'll move to the bottom. All right, made some more rods. All right, not perfectly aligned, but that'll do. Now I gotta figure out the arch and the fins. I feel like doing it this way will allow me to have a little bit better accuracy over my arch. Tweaking the shape as I go. So, try to reduce some of the springiness of this rod. Experimenting, and I'm just cutting halfway through or so around the corner. All right, now hopefully this is the last day on the body, because all I've got to do is the tail section here. So one thing I'm making sure when I do this is I want a rod right up against it trying to direction, because when I put a sheet on here, it'll be nice to have something to brace it against. Alright, not too bad. Slightly steeper in that section. Now this engine's going to take quite a bit of trial and error, I think. I'll build a few prototypes and then figure out which one I want to use. Okay. Well, I'm back. That's after a couple days. So here we got it taped up. Just using my hole punch to cut tiny circles out of a strip of duct tape. That didn't cut as well as I was hoping. Here's the engine. Okay, that's attached pretty securely. Okay, lime green for the body, dark wings. Now I'm making a sheet to cover the wings with. Alright, let's see how good my sketching skills are. Looks like I'm going to need quite a bit of green strips to get the wings done. What I'll do is I'm just going to fold over the tape so I can get the edge nice and rounded. Well, it does take a while to attach the skin to this thing and make all the strips pretty. Never know how many of these strips I'll need, so I always cut a whole bunch. Okay, I originally tried to do slightly larger sections than this, but the tape would start crinkling too much. So we're going to have to do this slow and small segments. Doesn't look spectacular, but I can make it work. Cockpit is definitely interesting. I'm just cutting some triangles and taping down the edges here so I could actually get a good fit. Okay, not too great, but it'll have to do. Alright, got it skinned. Body's a bit bumpier than I would like. We're now on to the detail stage of things. Alright, that's not so bad. It looks like it bent in again where I was resting. I'm really gonna have to come up with that stand. Okay, that definitely added some depth to it. Now I need gray circles. By the way, the circles are the most annoying thing to do. That was obnoxious, but the results are nice. So now we need to come up with the little rivets. Okay, now we just gotta build our turret, which is easier said than done. Just cut the ends off, make it slightly bit smaller, but then they could overlap. And that's important for strength. This is a 2-inch ring, and this is a 3-inch long one. Yeah, can I make that pretty? Alright, well, I think this little dome piece is actually going to work. So, let's make ourselves a smaller barrel. Looks like the barrel is gray. Alright, so I'm making a rod out of half a strip of duct tape. Quarter of it for the core, and the other half for the final layer. That might be enough. Alright, now I'm just taking smaller strips. I'm going to see about arching them over and making a nice little dome, kind of like I did at the other piece. That is rough, but I might be able to make it work. I mean, there's a lot of strips of tape, but it actually doesn't look half bad. Alright, so the funny thing is, I intended this piece to be kind of a test piece to see what I liked. And I like it well enough that I don't think I would really build one too much better. Alright, now we just need to make a red circle here. Quite tiny, actually. That's about as small as this will go. Well, that was probably the easiest part of it. I just took some super thin black strips, a quarter inch in length. Here's my little outline. Okay, I'm on the home stretch here. Okay, not excellent, but the newer letter size does help. Alright, here's the finished piece. Well, thanks for tuning in. I'll catch you on the next one.